Good evening. Welcome to our senior post-secondary night for our class of 2026. It's kind of crazy to see we are already at this point. My name is Michelle View. I am the Director of Guidance here at Andrew High School. I am also the person who introduced your students when they were in 8th grade, transitioning into freshman year to help walk you through that process. And now here we are, the class of 2026, and talking about what the future will hold after they graduate from Andrew High School in either January or May of this year. So thank you all for joining us. We greatly appreciate you being here this evening. We do have some wonderful presenters with us tonight. We have Miss Ann Lawrence, which is one of our school counselors, Miss Lakeisha Kaiser, our college and career counselor, and Miss Rebecca Manzella, one of our school counselors. All of the rest of our school counselors will also be here this evening in the College and Career Center should you have any questions that you want to ask specifically about your student after this evening's presentation. So, without further delay, I will have Miss Manzella kick it off. Again, thank you for being here and enjoy.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for being here. I know it's an earlier night than normal, so thank you all for being here so early in the evening. As Michelle View said, my name is Becky Manzella. I'm one of the school counselors here. And our goal for tonight is to ensure that everyone understands the different post-secondary pathway options and what each option entails for the application process for your student. Before we jump into there, I thought it would be fun to take a moment for this little cutie. She is one of the daughters of Erin Villette, who's one of our amazing school counselors here. And I know as a parent of 3 teenagers how quickly it goes from this to sitting in your seat tonight. And we look back to their kindergarten year 12 years ago, and your school was giving you a list of school supplies that your students needed, right? Crayons, glue sticks, maybe an extra set of clothes in a little Ziploc bag in case there was an accident, right? I want you to think of tonight as something very similar, right? We're not giving you a supply list of things that you need, but we're going to give you a framework of very important tools that can help you get your student into the post-secondary world of 2026. So the first thing in the packet that you received is a calendar, and this is a month-by-month calendar for you to hang up on your refrigerator at home, put it on your bulletin board, and this is going to be just a little checklist for you guys to kind of reference back to. Most importantly, you're not alone in this, right? And that brings us to our amazing guidance department. All of the counselors are here to help support your family and your students through this journey. Another thing in your packet is the QR codes. There's another sheet in there. This is a really easy way for your students to scan the QR code and make an appointment to see one of us. All of our Google calendars are linked to these calendars that come up on the QR code, and will immediately make an appointment for your student to be able to sit down and meet with us. If you guys have any questions, right, send them with a list of questions, and we're happy to help them through this process. So that's one of the most important things, is your family is not alone when we do this. Okay, so where are we now? We saw where we were 12 years ago as we were shipping them off to kindergarten. So over the last 2 weeks, right, this is only the beginning of the second full week of school, and we've already made contact with our seniors twice. This QR code here in the middle is a copy of a presentation that the seniors watched in advisory last week. It's also posted in the Google 2026 classroom for guidance that the students can watch. And in the last 2 days, we visited with our seniors in the advisory classes. So we talked about school links, we talked about linking it to Common App, we did the FERPA waiver with them, we talked about updating their profile in School Links, which helps populate them a fully formatted resume that they can use for the application process, not only for their college applications, if they're going to trade school, if they're going to right into the workforce, any of those things, they can use that, as well as for applying for scholarships. We also talked about credit checks and next steps for the students also was something else that we talked about. So the next things are going to be creating their final list of schools that they want to apply to in School Links. Now that School Links and Common App are going to be talking to each other, we did that yesterday and today. They're also going to start requesting their documents through School Links, so whether it's their letters of recommendation from their teachers, their transcripts that we'll automatically send out, and then researching the different schools so that they can create that final list of schools, and then additionally ways to pay for college. Okay, here is a list of the District 230 graduation requirements. I'm not going to read this to you, but know that every single semester that your student has been here, the counselors do a credit check on your students. So we are very confident at this point in time that they are on track to graduate. I will say that some of them do sneak up on kiddos, especially the community service hours. So we have been reminding students of this. It would be helpful if you did too, just do a double check with them. Your graduating class is still 25 hours. The incoming freshman class this year, so I believe it's the class of 2029, has 32 hours. So that has changed. If you have another student in the building or if you have heard parents talk about it, your graduating class is still 25. Additionally, last year, the state of Illinois switched from the SAT to the ACT, so that is a state requirement and a graduation requirement. They have to take the ACT in school last year. Okay, so the different paths that your student can take, right? So some students will attend a 2-year university, which is Moraine Valley. You can earn a full associate's degree there, you can earn a certificate there, or you can work on credits towards transferring to a different educational institution, which is typically a 4-year college or university. Some students will go into the military and then pursue a degree at a later point in time through the GI Bill. Some graduates can enter directly into the workforce. Some will go into the trades, and some take a gap year. Gap year can be for some students playing sports, mission trips, things like that.
So the thing we want you to really be aware of with the pathways is that the actions related to getting from here to there are very similar in each of the pathways. You're gonna have to do some sort of application, right? If you're going into the military, if you're trying to get an apprenticeship, if you're going to college, there will be some sort of application process. You're going to need to complete the FERPA, which we did that with the students on Monday and today. We sat down with them and completed the FERPA waiver, which basically says that we now have the ability and the right to send your students' information out to these institutions. They're gonna have to get supporting documents, right? For some students, that might be a transcript. For others, it might be a letter from one of us saying that they are on path to graduate on time and what that graduation date is. There will be some differences though. If your student is planning on going into the military, they will have to take the ASVAB. That is the test to kind of determine where they stand and which position they might end up in the military and which branch. As well as things like if you're going into the trades, you might start researching the unions, updating your resume. So there are a few differences, but for the most part, the process is still the same, and we're still going to be starting with your students now. So what do we do in School Links? I know you've heard us talk about this a lot. Your students have heard us talk about this a lot. But the biggest thing about School Links is that it is a research tool for your students. So it can help them research all of these different pathways, what choices they want to make, and how they're going to get there. We have students update it with their personal information along with any jobs they've done, any community service they've done, anything like that, because not only will it create a resume for them, but it also provides an opportunity for for our staff members and teachers to write letters of recommendation based on the information that they put in there, along with their personal experience with the student. It also it's an application manager. It works with Common App, excuse me. they speak to each other so that students can use that to not only research a college, but then start the application process. And a few other things that we kind of do with them in there is there are video interviews so they can practice doing a recorded interview. So if your student might have an interview with a college representative, if they might have an interview for an apprenticeship, they can do that practice in School Links and get prepared. And they can actually then go back and watch their own videos and see how they did in there. The other thing about the application manager is that we have them add colleges in School Links, and it automatically tells Common App that this is a place that they're interested in applying to. They can also request transcripts. So we do all of our transcript sending through School Links, but we also do it for, let's say, if they want to be an athlete, right, for NCAA eligibility, they would plug that into School Links and we can send their transcript. They can also download it for themselves. In some cases, they may be applying for a scholarship, and that scholarship might request an unofficial transcript, and students can actually download, we showed them how to do that, how to download a transcript for themselves and for their own records. They'll be doing the letters of recommendations. We send school reports to their schools, counselor reports, and they also can do a fee waiver through there. So we are going to have this available to you as well later on so that you can actually access some of the links in here. But there is a link in there for School Links, so you can go in and kind of see what your students are doing and how it works and what it looks like. And you can access through the College Applications tab, you can look at the fee waiver, the personal details, all of those things yourself as well with your student. So this is kind of what it looks like. We're going to go through this part a little bit quickly because you're not doing it right now. But we do also emphasize and stress as much as possible with students to put in their personal information and not their school information. If they put in their school email, when they graduate, that goes away. And so they won't be able to access any of this. You know, they'll be getting letters from wherever it is they end up going, coming to their school email, and they won't ever see those again. So we very much want to make sure that they use their personal information. As well as if there is any possibility for a fee waiver, they can go through and check the boxes. We have them read through it and see if they apply for any of these, because that way when they do their applications, the fee waiver is already in there. And then the FERPA waiver. So the FERPA is basically a law that says that your student's information is private. We cannot share it. I can't just tell someone else what classes your student is taking or what classes they have passed. But that means that we also can't, like, let's say, send a transcript to a college that they're requesting without them waiving that and telling us that they're okay with us sending their information. So that's what this is that your students did today. And then the last thing is their list. So one of the things that School Links does for them is it actually places schools based on their academic standing in a target, likely, or reach school. So it says, is this really possible for you, or is this going to be a little bit harder for you and maybe you need to bulk up your resume a little bit? And we will sit down with students and talk to them about it. We actually show them kind of on a scattergram where they lie with other students. And what kind of that likelihood is of them getting in and what they might need to do to kind of help bolster them a little bit. So there are multiple ways to apply for colleges. We've been talking about Common App a lot. That is one of the most common ones, the name Common App, right? It's like a clearinghouse, right? All the colleges are in there and they just fill out the application and then the schools take what they need, right? But there are other ways, right? You can also apply directly to the school. So if your student is going to Moraine Valley, you would be applying directly through Moraine Valley. We still have your students put Moraine Valley in School Links because we will still be sending our transcript through School Links. There are some other schools that are school-specific applications, and School Links knows which ones are school-specific and which ones aren't, and so they don't have to make any of those choices for themselves. We can actually do that. Transcripts. So this is a big one. I know I've already had multiple emails about transcripts. I'm sure other people have as well, asking for us to send them because students are already starting to apply for things, and that's fantastic. We love to see that students are already kind of getting a head start on things. Once the application is added into School Links, we see that and we automatically know it's time to start sending out transcripts. We do it all through School Links. Now, what might happen is some of you may receive an email after the application is complete that says we still need your transcripts. Sometimes there's a delay between School Links and the schools because the schools go in and pull them. But the transcripts are coming and they are going to be sent out. And normally we just tell students, give it another day or so. And they almost always make it before the deadline. And even if they don't, the schools recognize that it's coming through School Links and the student applied on time, right? So it's really about the student hitting that submit button on time. We also send out a mid-year report along with additional transcripts so that schools can see what they did in this semester. And then at the end of the year, we send another set in May to show that they absolutely completed their classes and that they're good and ready to go. And we also will send them in the same kind of connection to NCAA and anywhere else that your student requested a transcript be sent. Letters of recommendation are something we actually talked about today and yesterday. We do stress to students that it's important that they ask their teachers 2 weeks in advance of when they want the letter due. If you think about it, right, we each have about 250 or more students on our caseload. Teachers have a similar number, if not more, of students, so they're getting a lot of requests for letters of recommendation, which is why we ask for that 2 weeks, so they have time to kind of sit down and make their list and write a really nice letter. If you ask the day before, you might get a yes, but you might not get a great letter, right? We want to make sure that you have enough time for the teachers to actually sit down and really think about your student. And the requests, again, do come through School Links, and the teachers see that, and they will upload it. And your student can either request the same teacher do a recommendation letter for all of their schools or different teachers for different schools. It's really kind of all up to them. And then in here, we just wanted to show you kind of where they would make those requests. Your students should know how to do it, but just in case they need a little extra help, they forget, they can always come to us and ask, but we were hoping that also you would have this at home, so if they forget, you say, oh, let's go look at that slideshow, we think it's in there. And you can see the recommendation letters and the evaluations. All right, and I'm going to pass this on to Ms. Kaiser.
All right. So the application process can be a little lengthy, feels that way, but we want to make sure that you're getting all that information, and that's why we're going through each individual process. A question that comes up quite often is how will test scores be sent out? You and the student will need to request those test scores through the testing source. So if that's our school day ACT score, you will go to the ACT site to request those. Some of you have taken the SAT as well, so it is totally up to you which test score you would like to submit, but then you will definitely get those from the test scoring options. We do not have access to those test scores to be sent out. If you had a student that had a fee waiver, they received 6 schools that they can put on that test, that they will get a free test score sent out. So you'll definitely go onto those sites and then indicate that you want those to be sent, and then they can be sent at your leisure. After that, you will have 20 additional ones to send, and that's if you went through with the fee waiver. And if you have questions on that, I can help you with that. I'm in the College and Career Center, or you can send me an email, and I can help your student access those records and then send those out to the appropriate schools. So, ways to pay. Our students are very excited, and we have a lot of students that are applying to a lot of schools, but we have to make sure that they're having a conversation with you first so that we can be realistic in those efforts, because we need to pay, right? So we want to make sure that our students have those resources. We talk about financial aid, which is federal, and for our undocumented students, we do have alternative sources of funding that they can apply for as well. We have scholarships, and of course, again, we definitely want to encourage those conversations with planning. So not only can your students set an appointment with me in the College and Career Center, you can do that as well during the day. We can go on Zoom, and I can call your student down, and then we can all meet together just so that you're having the same question. We're all on the same page. I know with my kids, I'll tell them something, then they'll hear from somebody else, and it's like, no, this is it. We want to make sure that we're all on the same page and getting the same information. So I want to support you at home when you're having those conversations over the dinner table, and then I want that same support when I'm asking them to get things in on time. So, FAFSA. We will have our Ways to Pay financial aid night, parent night, October 8th, so we can go in depth about the federal application that will need to be completed. All students have to complete the FAFSA in order to graduate from a public high school in the state of Illinois. Every single one, regardless of your plan. If you're going to the military, taking a gap year, going to 4-year or 2-year, you have to get the FAFSA done. So you are not alone in that process. I know some of you have older students and you went through the process already, but for our parents that this is new for, we have several supports available to you. We have FAFSA Fridays. Again, we'll have our October 8th Ways to Pay night, and we'll go through all the resources that are available to you. What you can do to get the FAFSA process started. We know that we will open FAFSA October 1st, I'm hoping. So how you can get started now, if you do not have an FSA ID, then you will need to create that. It does take about a 3-day processing period, so we don't want to wait till right before October 1st to start applying for that, because if there are any errors that need to be corrected, there's going to be a processing time. And we have no control over that processing time with the federal government. So it takes about 3 business days. Both parents and student will need to create an FSA ID. When you're creating that ID, you will need a social security number, a valid email address, and phone number for verification. Those are the 3 components that you will need to create an FSA ID. So again, I can set this up with students, but most students don't know their social security number, and some struggle with their address. It's very interesting. So this may be something that you guys can work on at home, but I'll be happy to support them. All right, so scholarships. So there are several different scholarship sources for students. The most common that you will hear about is those merit-based scholarships, and those scholarships come directly from the institution. So when your student submits their application, they'll look at their GPA, they'll look at their talents, they'll look at different achievements, and then they'll decide as an institution how much your child should receive, right? In addition to that, some schools have priority scholarships. A lot of times those scholarship deadlines are December 1st. So what will you need by December 1st for that? You'll have to have your FAFSA in, because they're gonna wanna know, are you receiving any federal dollars? And if not, how much can we give you to supplement that, especially for those students that are going on talents and achievements. So we wanna make sure that we're proactive, we have our applications in, we have our FAFSA complete so that they can get a true look at that student's profile and to give your students what they need to be successful. The national merit scholarships are very competitive because the big word there is national. So everybody's applying for Target. Everybody's applying for Starbucks. I mean, I don't even know if they have that. I just made that up. But national, just to give you the point. So we still want to try, right, for those. So I have provided a link for students to use Going Merry. It's just a site that I use because I can see if your student is actually filling them out and if they need supplemental documents, so I can help speed the process along. And then finally, our VGA local scholarship. This scholarship does not open until January 26th, and it is open for a month. And this scholarship is for our Andrews students, and it's funded by our District D230, our local businesses and donors, and they are very happy to provide funding for your students. We just need your support in making sure that your students complete that scholarship application by the deadline. For our students that are going into trades, I hear so many times that they're like, well, I'm not gonna fill out the scholarship, I'm doing trades, I'm doing whatever. No, encourage your students to apply. There are several scholarships for students that are going specifically into trades. So our donors are not biased to, you have to go to a 4-year. No, whatever your student's plan is and their pathway, we are here to support that. So please encourage your students to fill out that application. If they need support, we are here to support them through that process. My job depends on it. Send them to my office, okay? And I will do it. That's my only job. You know, they say you have one job to do, that's my job. So please send them and I will support them with that application process. All right, again, I talked earlier about having the conversations. A lot of us kind of stray away from having certain financial conversations with our students because sometimes they count themselves out because they're like, well, we can't afford it. Let's talk a little bit about what we can do. We can support our students in their goals. And every student has a different, there's no cookie cutter approach. We can get them there. We just need to have your support so that we can help them. We can talk about different options. There's a million ways to crack a nut, as they say. And you know, the only way you can eat an elephant is piece by piece. So sometimes they look at the bigger picture and decide, they already take themselves out. We have to support our students, and you have a great staff here that will do that. We have different plans, there's different seasons, different reasons for different people, and we're here to support our students. You can talk about cost. We can also look for our students to encourage them to look at those dual credit classes that they've already taken. We want to make sure that they are requesting those transcripts from Moraine so that they can have that to help kind of ease some of the costs in getting their overall program degree. And we just want to make it realistic and attainable. We don't want to build a wall that does not need to be there for our students. We will find a way. All right, so some of the supports and resources that we offer. So in the College and Career Center, we do have college visits, and you have seniors now, so they've been to the college visits. Some have been to our career visits. We have the application support. So in the month of September, we will alternate weeks, but we'll have application support completion, and then we'll have essay support. So we'll be able to help your students with those essays. I've had some of your students come in already sharing their essays, and it's great. And we will continue to encourage them to speak with us so that we can help them through that process. They can also meet with me one-on-one so that I can help walk them through their process of applying and looking at different options so they can reach their goals. The seniors will be meeting with their counselors in the next week. Okay, so all seniors will be meeting with their counselors for a one-on-one, and then again, I can meet with the students, and I encourage you to be a part of those conversations. I'm open to doing a Zoom during the day, and I can bring your student down and we can have those conversations as well. We will be communicating our events via our District D230 webpage, school links, Parent Square, emails, and your students are all connected to Google Classroom, and we send all of that information out to them. All right, so I was really scared to bring this up, but I did the training this morning, so we're gonna just work with me. So Illinois has pushed out a new initiative to have a one-click college admission. It's a direct admission to all of the state schools, with the exception of, for this graduating class, University of Illinois Urbana, University of Illinois Chicago, and Illinois State University. Other than that, all of the other schools will be a part of this initiative to make sure that all students have access to a public education. I almost said free. That was just my dream. So what does that look like for your students? So your class is very unique because they're just pushing this out. What's going to happen as soon as your student creates an account on Common App, they're going to self-report their GPA, and then they're going to put their address in, right? Because they need to make sure that it's an Illinois address. Once they complete that process, Common App will then send that information out to the participating universities. And again, here's the list of those universities. That university then will be matched, and then on your student's Common App, they will see where they have been directly admitted to general admission to that university. So it's nothing that you have to do. The student just goes and fill out the Common App, put the self-reported GPA and their address. If the student is directly admitted, they will be notified in Common App. The student will then complete the application process by hitting submit. Why is this important to go through this route? It's free. Regardless if you have a fee waiver or whatever your financial situation is, your student will have a free application to one of the state schools listed on the screen here. So that's a new initiative that's called the One-Click College Admission. This will look different if you have younger students because students will have to opt in. So our current juniors will have to opt in by May in order to be considered for direct admission to these universities. So the exciting part about this, if you get the application started, the Common App, students will be getting direct admission enrollment decisions starting next week, so September 9th. They will start getting direct admission through Common App. Now, if you have a student that is going into like a specialized program, like my student wants to go into nursing, or they wanted to go into engineering, that is separate. They're going to give you admission, general admission, but if there's a special application process for like the College of Nursing, they have to apply regularly for that. So I can speak with your students just in case we want to see which is best for them. They can accept all of them and apply to all of them. It does not lock them in because it's direct admission. It just gives them more options, because these are schools that some students either counted themselves out or they weren't sure about. Once they submit their regular application, then of course the college will verify based on the transcripts that we will send at that point. Your student does not even have to write an essay. No essay, no fee. Add your GPA, put your address in. This is the same for our undocumented students. This is separate from citizenship. We just need to make sure that they have a permanent address in Illinois. So if you have further questions about this, please feel free to talk to me. I will get them set up, and I'll help you walk through that process, okay? I'm like, okay. I was nervous about it because, you know, when you get information and there's questions and you're going to start challenging me, and I'm like, let me check my notes. But we got it. Okay, so I'm going to get you out of here. I'm trying to go quickly. We have upcoming events, and this will all be sent to you. A couple big items for our first-gen seniors. We will have a Trailblazers meeting. Those are students who are the first in their first generation to attend college. So if you did not attend college and your students are planning to go, they will be considered first generation. Regardless if they have an older sibling that is in college, they're still the first generation to attend. We will have a post-secondary fair in the Commons. We'll have two this fall, one in September and one October. It will be military, trades, and colleges. So these are just different opportunities for your students to still talk to college reps. The reps that were invited are regional reps. That means they will be the people reading your students' applications. So a conversation or a quick elevator pitch does not hurt. Let them come in and speak with the reps, and they can also help them if they have questions with with their essays. And then just a reminder, Ways to Pay night is October 8th, and then the priority application deadline is November 1st. I won't go through all of this, but it's just giving you important dates and just upcoming events. You'll see on the left, they also have different activities, as she's pointing right. You have this in your packet, so you'll have something to reference. There you go.
I want to thank all of you for being here. It's really great to see all of the parents so involved and excited to kind of get started on this journey with your students. We do have up on the screen, I hope you all can see it or use it, but that is a QR code that we would love for you to complete a survey just about tonight and your experience here. It is really quick. It's only 4 questions. I promise we didn't do too much. But we also want to show you the Google Classroom code. You as parents do have access to that Google Classroom for your students. So that way any information that we put on for your students, you can also see. I know your students are probably in 6 or 7 Google Classrooms at this point. They've got them for their clubs, their sports, for everything. And so they get inundated with this. So we're hoping that maybe if they miss it, you'll catch it. So we would like to have all of our parents in there if possible. And then if you have any questions, I know that if anyone has a 0-hour class for their student, that is starting soon, so I don't want to hold anyone back. But if you do have questions for us, we are certainly here to answer them. And then we will also be, when we all leave, we'll be in the College and Career Center on the 2nd floor. Any questions?
Nope, that's the uniqueness of this year. They don't have to do anything but start the common application, enter in that address, and then the self-reported GPA.
Yeah.
So they're asking that both parents create one, but once your student starts filling out the information, it may tell them which contributor will need to actually fill out the application.
Yeah.
No,
You do
that
not.
is yours for life.
Yep.
That's a gift.
So it's just the gift. So it's just the new student that would have to create one. I think in the back, yeah? Yes, we're going to have this available. So this is going to go in the Google Classroom. We're going to send it out. I think it's going to be on the website. And then also this whole presentation is being recorded. Awkward for us, but great for you. So, so you can also go back if there's anything that maybe we said that wasn't like explicitly typed out, you can go back and watch it.
I know that we also talked about the presentation that we gave yesterday and today in the advisory classrooms for the seniors. That was also posted yesterday, so you can see exactly what we did with them, kind of following this process of linking everything and using school links. And also the video that they watched last week in advisory is also posted in there.
So let me preference this. If you guys, I know people are very excited to apply, right? So if you submit an application before you receive the direct admit will not come. So I would recommend, I know a lot of people are so excited to read it, but if the deadline is like November 1, they do not look at those applications before November 1. Give yourself, your student an extra chance to get the direct admit before you submit the application.
I was going to repeat. Another question from the audience was, if your student has already filled out applications via the Common App, will transcripts automatically be sent?
So Common App is connected directly to schooling. So once your student puts a school on their Common App, it automatically sends a request to the counselors for a transcript. So nothing else will need to be done in order for the transcript to be sent out. If we have parents that are interested in the directions for the one-click option, I do have instructions available if you would like to take those with you.
Thank you all for attending. I know this was a very early evening. It threw us for a loop too, so we appreciate you being here. Again, all of our counselors will be in our College and Career Center, so if you have student-specific questions, please stop up there this evening and reach out to us. We are thankful to partner with you in this process, and congratulations on getting to senior year. Thank you.